we get started. Okay, before we get started, can anyone tell me what they understand by what design is from the slide I shared? Anyone? Please, if you know the answer, just quickly raise up your hand, then I'll call your name, then you can answer the question. What is design? I believe I shared the slide on the channel. I can't see anybody. Quickly, yeah. Let me see. You can unmute your mic and speak. Go ahead. Let me see if you can hear me. Unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, my name is Jemisi. Actually, the last class you talked about design. From what I read, I've not actually taken time to go over the slide anyway, but I know design is about purposeful creation of objects and more about creativity, what comes to your mind and bringing it to reality.
Okay, thank you so much for that. So we'll be talking about the understanding of UI UX design. So from the last class, I said design is a process of or art of creating solutions that meet users' needs. Looking at the chair that you're sitting to receive this lecture, or the mobile application I used to chat with your friend, and using this board as example, you can actually classify it as a design. So a design can either be a physical or an object or service or experience, using this website as a good example. Then you have products. So product is anything created to address users' needs and market wants. So you have a physical product, a digital product. You can classify your cream, your TV as a physical product, then your website as a digital product. Moving forward, we just jump into what UI is. Can anyone tell me the full meaning of UI? Somebody answered the question in our last class. Can somebody just tell me the full meaning of UI UX again? Okay. Ecom. Sorry, I'm wondering your name. You can raise up your hand and answer.
It's fine. My name is Ekomobo. UI is user interface, UX user experience.
All right, thank you so much. Yeah, that was a good one. Okay, so from what you said, user interface refers to the visual elements a user interacts with on a digital product. You can also classify UI as the exterior part of a product. As a UI designer, you strive to create interfaces that are visually appealing, easy to navigate, and enjoyable to interact with. UI comprises of elements like product elements like buttons, menus, icons, typography, and color. These help UI designers to maintain. Okay, so sorry about that. So it encompasses of the look and feel of a product, which includes the use of buttons, menus, icons, typography, color scheme, etc. So you have to maintain consistent experience. Then moving forward, we're talking about what we're looking at example of a good UI. So here is a Okay. So sorry about that. So here we have a good example of what a UI looks like.
Hello, sorry, Chimaka, can you hear me?
Yes, I hear you.
Yeah, I think you need to share your screen.
I need to.
You need to share your screen.
Yeah. So sorry, I thought I was sharing my screen.
Yes.
So sorry. Yeah. Okay. So
No fish.
can you see my screen now?
Yeah, go ahead. You can present it. Go ahead.
Okay. So this is a good example of what a UI looks like. So you have the use of colors, the use of menu bar, the use of navigation, and it's just a visual aspect of a product that the user can see and interact with. Then here you also have a website design, which is like a landing page. You see the use of typography, the use of buttons, and the use of colors to show the visual aspect of the product. Then we'll be moving forward to what US is. From what Ekon said US is user experience. She was actually very correct. So US experience design focuses on the overall experience a user has when interacting with a product. As a US designer, you go beyond just the surface, that's the interface. You be in charge of the entire user journey from the moment a user downloads your app from Play Store to the point a user perform a particular task. Like if you download like Netflix and you're able to like stream a movie, we can say, okay, you have carried out a good user experience. As a UX designer, you consider usability. Usability is the ability for you to design products that are usable and enjoyable for users to interact with. Then you have information. Okay, Tosin, you can ask your question. Unmute and ask your question. Okay. Then, as a UX designer, you consider information architecture, which is the organization and structuring of content on your products. What the kind of content you want your users to see, how you want them to see those content. Then you have user experience, which is gathering of information to understand users and pinpoint needs, frustration, and behavior. Then you have interaction design, the overall interaction a user undergoes when navigating through your application or a mobile app. Sorry. So moving forward, we'll be talking about the difference between US and UI. US, user experience and user interface. As a US designer, you'll be in charge of interaction design, wireframe, information architecture, user research, scenarios. As a UI designer, you're in charge of visual design, colors, graphics design, layouts, and typography. So I'm going to like explain each of them one after the other. Yeah. Interaction, as a UX designer, you'll be in charge of how users interact with your products. You also consider the kind of information, users' action, and system response. So what happens when a user clicks on add to cart button on an e-commerce website or a mobile application? What kind of response or feedback does the user get? You'll be in charge of that. You also be in charge of wireframes. So wireframe is like low fidelity sketch that represents functionality and not the visual aspect of design. It's more like a blueprint before a blueprint of a house before furniture or paint is being added, more like a black and white representation of your products. They'll be in charge of that too. Then you have information architect. As a UX designer, you'll be in charge of organizing and arrangement of content in a logical manner and user-friendly way so that users can easily identify such content and know what kind of message this content is conveying. Then you have user research. As a UX designer, user research is the foundation of user experience. In order for you to understand your users and the kind of pinpoint their behavior towards a particular product, you must be able to like gather a lot of information. By so doing, you have to carry out surveys, interview in order for you to understand your users and the kind of problem that they are facing. Then we'll talk about UI design. So UI design, said earlier, focuses on the visual aspect of a product, the look and feel of a product. As a UI design, you make use of elements like colors, imagery, layout, typography, in order for you to maintain consistency and convey the right information to your users. Then we'll talk about colors. We all know colors have a way of invoking our emotion and behavior. As a UI designer, you choose colors that are not only visually appealing, but also convey the right message. Most fintech applications, social media platforms use color blue because it conveys trust. And you also see most entertainment companies or industries use color red because it conveys energy and excitement, like YouTube, Netflix, and Coca-Cola. So moving forward, can anyone tell me what the color green conveys, the kind of information color green conveys? Please, if you know the answer, just quickly raise up your hand and answer. Anyone? Yeah, okay, Henry, go ahead.
Good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
I mostly related to growth, growth, or maybe agriculture, vegetation.
Yes, you are not far from it. So green conveys calmness and peace. You see most Spotify is a good product that use blue to convey information to their user. You also have the Animal Planet products. So moving forward, we're talking about layout. So as a UI designer, okay, Jessica, go ahead. You can unmute your mic and speak. Jessica, can hear you. Unmute your mic and speak.
Okay. So in the last class, that was the one we had on Tuesday.
Sorry, on Wednesday.
Said blue. Can you hear me?
Yeah,
Hello,
breaking.
can you hear me?
Yes, you're breaking. Can go
Can you hear
ahead.
me?
Yes, I can
Hello?
hear you. I can hear you now. Can you hear me?
Okay. Yes, I can hear you.
All right.
Can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay. The class we had on Wednesday, you said blue is like a calm color. You said blue is a calm color. But now the person that answered for green said that green is a calm color. So I'm somehow confused. Green, is it calm or is for growth?
Okay. Depending on the scenario that you're using it, right?
Okay.
So green is more like peace and calmness. Sometimes people use it as for growth. You see most agri products, they use green for their interface, right? Then you see
Okay.
most fintech organization, institution, social media, they use blue because it conveys trust. And
Okay.
in other places, you can see black as a mourning color that people wear when they are sad. But in the products world, people use black as luxury. Like products like Chanel, they use black to convey luxury. Yeah, does that answer your
Okay.
question?
Yes, thank you very much.
Okay. Sorry, somebody is raising their hand. Okay, let me call your name. Kali, you can unmute and speak. Can you hear me? Okay, I think he's having network issues. Toysin, you can unmute your mic and ask your.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Yeah, please, at what point does a UX designer come into play during a product design?
Okay. So usually at the beginning phase, where you have to carry out user research. Remember what I said? I said user research is more like the foundation of UX. So in most cases, you have to start as a UX designer, you understand, before you have to move to the UI aspects. Because you have to like make your research, gather feedback, and find possible solution before you move to the UI aspect, which is the visual aspect of the product. Does that answer your question?
Yes, please. Thank you,
Mayo,
ma'am.
sorry, I'm not really good with names. Mayowa, sorry.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening.
Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, I can hear you. Go ahead.
My question is, can someone just can someone do only the UI part, or does a person have to do the UI together? Can we just
Okay.
be based on it?
Okay, I get your question. So as a beginner, it's always advisable. As a beginner, it's always advisable to know about everything. You understand? Because you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow. But when you land,
Yes.
you get like a job in big organization, they can
Yes.
actually employ you as a UI designer or as a US designer. But you don't know where you find yourself tomorrow.
Yes.
It's always advisable to know everything so that when you encounter a problem, you know how to like address it.
Yes, ma'am. Okay, ma'am. Thank you, ma'am.
Okay, I think that's all. So we'll continue. So we'll talk about layouts. We'll talk about layouts. So as a UI designer, you'll be in charge of arrangements of elements in your product screens, right? You consider habits, hierarchy, etc. And also how users navigate and understand your product easily. So before you place any elements on your screen, for instance, like a button, you must place it where it's easily accessible for users to like see and know, okay, this is a button, and they navigate with it. And hierarchy, you have to like put the most important things first. You understand? So when they see it, okay, they know, like, oh, this is a header. This is the first thing that they want me to see. So that I don't have to like confuse them by giving them a whole lot of information. Then talk about typography. As a UI designer, you'll be in charge of selecting fonts that are readable for your target audience. So if you're designing for children, you're able to use fonts that are most suitable for their age. If you're designing for adults, you're able to use fonts that is suitable for their age. Just picking the right fonts based on the research that was provided. So that's why it's always good as a US designer to know who your target audience is, the people that you are designing for. So before we move to the next part, does anyone have any question, concerns? Please quickly raise up your hand and ask. Okay. Opeyemi, sorry, and unmute your mic and ask your question.
All right. I didn't get what you said before that hierarchy. That's what I was looking for.
So visual hierarchy is the art of putting the most important elements in your design first. What is it that you want your users to see first, right? Let me use a good example. Landing on this page now, you see that the navigation bar is the first thing here, and the information they are conveying is good. Let's find a home that is perfect for you. Landing here, you know that, okay, this is a rental site, this is a real estate website. You understand? Does that answer your question?
Yes. Thank you.
Okay, right. So we have skills that you should possess as a UI designer and skills that you should possess as a UX designer. When you talk about creativity, from the word to be creative, you must be able to think outside the box and offer possible solutions to users' pain points. Can anybody tell me what pain point is? I'm using that word for some minutes now. I don't know if you guys are conversant with the word pain points. Please, if you know the meaning of pain points, can you just quickly use up your hand and answer? Does anyone know? Okay, Henry. You can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, good evening. So, pain points basically the user's problem or the user's needs.
Okay, thank you so much. Thank you. Then you have problem solving ability for you to like identify a problem in your community or in the world and find possible solutions to solving them. Then you have communication skills. In order for you to like interact with your users, like ask them a lot of questions, you must be able to have the communication skill and know the kind of questions that you'll be asking your users. Then you have attention to details. You don't just do things anyhow. You must pay attention to details because if you place elements around, users might not really find it accessible and they might not end up using your product. Then you have collaboration. As a UI designer, you're not going to be working alone. You can be working with like a whole lot of people in an organization. You must be able to like work in a group. You cannot work alone. Then you have prototyping. Prototype is more like an early model of your product. So ability for you to like connect screens and send to show functionality of your design before development. So when you prototype your design, you can show it to your target audience to help you like navigate through before you start your development. That is the coding aspect and the development aspect. Then you talk about usability testing. Okay. Timothy, can I ask your question?
All right. My question is, what is the difference between wireframe and prototype?
Okay, wireframe is more like a sketch of your product. You can either sketch it on a piece of paper or use a software like FigJam to sketch. At that stage, you're just looking at functionality. We actually have what we call low fidelity wireframes and low fidelity prototype. Prototype is when you have connected the screens to show how it's going to be on the development stage, right? Wireframe is more like a skeleton of what your product should look like. You have not like connected. Does that answer your question?
Yeah, thank you.
Okay, so that will be all on UI design skills. So we have a UX design skill, we have user research. Can anyone tell me what I said about user research? Please, if you know the answer, please raise up your hand and answer. Anyone? All right, Ali. So you can ask your question.
Hello, can you hear me? Good evening, ma'am.
Good evening, I can hear you.
Okay, you said user research is the foundation of UI UX.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay.
So you have to make research about, like, you want to design an app, you have to know the intricacies of that app, how the users, what it will look like when the users use it, and how they will perceive it. So you need to make a lot of research about maybe the right colors that will appeal to them, the right font size, and all that. And you have to do proper research.
Yeah, thank you so much. Thank you. Abimbola, please, you can meet someone, you can speak.
Okay, good evening, everyone. I believe user research also means user story, what they're actually looking for in design, their interests. So you gather those information and you go to work. Thank you.
Okay, thank you so much. I also said that as a UX designer, user experience designer, you must be able to like carry a lot of research Okay. Serafina, you can speak. All right, okay. I also said as a UX designer, you gather a lot of information about your target audience, right? Then you have to like conduct a lot of interviews in order for you to understand. If you don't communicate and ask a lot of questions, you don't really know what somebody is passing through. So you have to like do interviews, send us surveys just to understand your user, their needs, their pain points, and their behavior before you can now move ahead, finding possible solutions, brainstorming possible solutions to their problem. Then we have design thinking. So design thinking is a human-centered approach for problem solving. So we have 5 stages of design thinking process, but we're going to be discussing that in our next class. So it just help in product development and life cycle from the beginning of the product to the end of the product. You have to like always put users in the center of your design. You must be able to like interview them to understand their pain points, then brainstorm possible solution, create wireframes, then for more streamlined solution. So it's actually like a 5 stages of a design thinking. We have 5 stages of design thinking process, but we'll be discussing that in our next class. So if you don't understand it now, you understand it better. But if you have any question, you can quickly raise up your hand and ask. Then we'll talk about wireframing. Because you might tell me what's the difference between wireframing and prototype. I've said this earlier when I was talking about the difference between UI and UX. So if you know the answer, just quickly raise up your hand. Is that me? You can answer. Thank you.
From what I heard earlier, wireframing is like a sketch of the product you want to like work on. Maybe just like a sketch on the paper, like the skeleton part of what you want to work on. While prototype is like the model, not like the final product you want to produce, but like a I don't know what to say, but like a model of what you want to produce. So I don't know the exact question.
All right. So when you are wireframing as thank you so much for that. So when you are wireframing as a UX designer, you're not looking at the visual aspects, you're looking at the functionality. Just like you're not concerned at does it really look fine? Because it can just be a sketch on a rough piece of paper, anywhere, just like brainstorming idea. Does this really solve this problem? Then wireframing is more like the early model of your product. So it helps in usability testing. At this stage, you have connected your screen, and you know how users can navigate before you can now carry out what we call usability testing, as I mentioned earlier. So Payemi, thank you so much for that. You can bring down your hand now. I think somebody else is raising their hand. Sorry. I can't find the person. I should that. Okay. Carly, if you're raising your hand, you can unmute and speak. If you're not raising your hand.
Okay. Hello, can you hear me?
I can hear you.
I was going to attempt the question you asked about wireframe and then prototyping. I understand that wireframing is more like the ideation stage where you have your sketch, like an idea of what you want to design in your head, then you sketch it out. Like I would say the master plan or the very first stage where you sketch what you want. And then the prototyping is the model of how you want your users to see how it works. Not necessarily the product has been activated or the developer has worked on it, but just like you said, the model, the very first stage of the model.
Thank you so much. Thank you. So moving forward, we'll be talking about the importance of sorry, Obina, you can ask your question before we continue. Obina, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and ask your question. Okay, I think he's not here. So let's continue. Maybe when he's around, you ask his question, then continue. So why is UI UX design important? So UI UX enhances Chipita, unmute your mic and ask a question.
Okay, good evening, everybody.
Good evening.
Can you hear me?
Can hear you.
Okay, you said UX design has to do with user research and knowing your audience and their problems and how to solve it. So I was thinking from that UI skills that you mentioned, I was thinking problem solving and communication should be in UX design, like as a skill in UX design, not UI. I don't know if I'm
Yes,
correct.
yes, you're not far from it. UI, US, they're actually very similar. The fact that I mentioned it in UI, I didn't mention it in US. These are skills that you should possess, and we call it software development skills, right? Communication skills, collaboration skills, leadership skills, and all that. You understand?
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so you have the importance of UI UX design. So when design is properly done, when you have done your UI and you have done your UX and you know, okay, this design is good to go, you find out that this product will enhance user satisfaction and loyalty. When a product is designed, the interface is designed well, and users find it very easy to navigate, they tend to stick around for a very long time, even when they find other applications there. But so far, the one that they're using is easy and they don't find it very difficult navigating around, they tend to stick on that particular product for a very long time. Then you have improved product usability and efficiency. Once you have done a proper UI UX design on your products, right? It's going to be easy for people to navigate. They don't have to go to YouTube and start watching videos in order for them to perform a particular task. Maybe you want to purchase something, you have to go and watch video on YouTube, then go back to the app and look for what the button you had to click before you had to do a particular task. Then you have increased brand reputation and trust. Anywhere that you are, that you see WhatsApp, even if you are sleeping, okay, this is WhatsApp, because they have made use of their green, that is a color, and they have made use of their layout so well that even if you are dreaming and somebody say, okay, this is Twitter, and when it's WhatsApp, you're like, no, this is WhatsApp. So you can also read more about the importance of UI UX design. Then moving forward, we're talking about good and bad UX. Can anyone, from what we have been discussing from the beginning of this class down to this moment, can anyone tell me why this first one is a bad UX and this right one is the right UX? Sorry, right. If you know, please raise up your hand and yeah. Okay, I have plenty people. Thank you. I will just call your names one after the other. Okay. Okoroje, Emanuela, sorry. You can unmute your mic and ask your question. Emanuela, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Yeah, you can speak. I can hear you now.
Okay, it's actually Okoroji, Emanuela. So first is the interface. The first one, they didn't make use of a catchy color to actually differentiate between the heading and the body.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you so much. That is just it. So sorry, Onyechi, do you have any other thing to add?
Okay, I not really. I just the color. I wanted to just mention the color. This other one that has color is it looks even more attractive and beautiful than the other one, and
Okay.
it sends this feeling of calmness. Yes, and it's attractive than the first one.
Okay. Thank you so much. Looking at the first one, you see there are a lot of information. You don't even know the one that is the header text and the body text. But the color added, even if it's just a small part, help you to okay, this is the order side and this is the customer side. You understand? So making use of color now will help you to have a good user experience. You don't have to crack your brain to okay, where is the order list? Where is the customer list? Chukwuebuka, if you have a question, you can unmute your mic and ask.
Okay. Well, good evening. It's not actually a question. I just wanted to add something to it.
Okay, go
On the
ahead.
first one, the bad design, I think the align. Hello, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you. Go ahead.
Hello?
I can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. On the, yeah, I'm speaking. On the bad design, I think the alignment, customer side is just, the whole thing is just scattered. The email address, while the good design, everything is just standing as it should be. I don't know if you understand what I'm saying.
Yes, you're right. Thank you. So we have another one here, another example of what a good and bad UX looks like. Any idea? Okay, Faith. You can unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, yeah, for me, I think so the first design actually looks big and not clear. It sort of stresses the
So I
user.
can't hear you.
Hello, can you hear me now?
Yes, it's better now.
Yeah, so for me, I think the first design sort of stresses the user. It's not clear, it's vague. But the second design, which is colorful, it's acts like it has the details and straightforward. So it's user friendly. So that's it for me.
Okay, thank you so much. So in addition to what you have said, looking at the first one, you have your email and you have a password. So this person must have put a wrong password. And the person said error. The person don't know which kind of error is it. Why is it error? You understand? Looking at the second one now, it's more descriptive. Password incorrect. If you don't remember, you can reset it. You understand? Here I had to start thinking, what did I do wrong? Here I'm getting the information why my password is incorrect. Yeah. Yeah, so I was muted for, I don't know, so I think someone muted me. So looking at the first one, it's not really descriptive. You have discard draft. Are you sure you want to cancel your upload? So they have, okay what? Cancel what? You're looking at the second one, you have, are you sure you want to cancel your upload? Yes, cancel, don't cancel. So you can also go and read more about UI, the good and bad UX. If you have any question, you can always communicate on the chat, on the channel. Then we're looking at the good and bad UI. So if you know why this first one is wrong and the second one is a good UI, you can unmute your mic. You can raise your hand and ask your question. Okay, Okoro Emanuela. Unmute your mic and speak.
Okay, yeah. First, when you take a look at the two pictures, they almost seem similar, but the reason why they're not.
So Emanuela,
One
speak
is
up, we can't hear you.
okay, sorry, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you now.
Okay. First, the first one is not properly aligned, like the alignment is not in order. While the second one, the alignment are in order. Secondly, here you would see that even the images, some are in bold, while the other, while one is not in a bold interface. While the second one, both are they use almost the same either sticker or whatever to actually represent whatever it is that they are doing.
Thank you so much, Emanuela. So let me see, you can unmute your mic and add your own contribution.
Okay, this image just represent the part of the functions of the UI when you talk about the layout. Talk about the arrangement of the elements. So the first one is just properly arranged, obviously, and the second one is probably based on the hierarchy and the habit also. That's all.
Okay, you guys are not far from it. So in addition to what you have said, looking at the first one, the icons are not consistent. He's using like a bold icon here with lots of colors. Then looking at the second one, it's more like light color, light shapes and all that. Then looking at the third icon, which is the message icon, you see that it's looking way different from the first and the second one with the additional, I don't know what I'll call this. Then looking at this, the good UI, you see that everything is consistent. The use of stroke is consistent across from the clock to the home to the messaging icon. So you see, if you have a question, you can unmute your mic and answer. Are you there? Okay, moving forward. Okay, ask your
Please, I actually want to make a contribution, please. The first one has a proper alignment, and the
first
icons. No, it doesn't have a proper alignment,
Okay.
and the icons are not uniform. Why the second one has a proper alignment and we have uniform icons.
All right. Thank you so much.
Yeah.
So looking at this one now, can anyone say what I said about typography and use typography and explain this, why this is a bad and a good UI? Anyone? Ekon, do you want to answer the question? You can unmute and answer. Okay, you can unmute and answer the question.
All right, based on the typography for this one, I feel like the use of font.
Sorry, we can't hear you. Sorry, we can't hear you.
Can you hear me?
Yes, it's breaking.
Okay. Can you hear me now? Am I clear?
Yes, I can hear you now. Go ahead.
All right. I'm saying based on typography for this bad word, the fonts that are used are too big. Like it does not make it look so okay for this bad word. Like that new the 26 song, the font is like the same thing with the one upper, like the one on top of it. So it doesn't really look like a special, like a separate look compared to the other one that has the lower and lighter font. That's what I'm thinking about.
Okay, thank you so much. Yeah, okay. Tobo, you can unmute and ask your and answer. Sorry.
Okay, good evening, everyone.
Good evening.
Okay, what I found in the first one is that when you see the text, the font text in the first one, A is the about, welcome home, the font are the same. So one can hardly differentiate between the header and the body. You come to the second one, you can differentiate between the heading and the wording. And that shows that the typography in the second one, okay, clearly has a message to whoever is coming, visiting the page, compared to the first one. So if you are visiting this front page, the second one gives you a clearer picture of what the page is about as against the first one. Thank you.
Yeah, thank you so much. You guys are correct. So we have come to the end of today's class. So if you have any questions, if you have any question, concerns, then you can ask now. So we can call it a night. Kali, EK, you can ask your question.
Well, it's not a question, like an answer. I wanted to contribute or make my own observation.
All right, you can still contribute. Go ahead.
Okay, sorry, I have an appliance in my mouth. That's why you can't hear me. I have a big speech. So
I can actually
For the oh, you can hear me. Okay. Okay, it's just about the hierarchy, the most important thing being placed first. So the hairstyle is on the good one is more prominent, while on the bad UI design is smaller. That's the header, following the following the law of hierarchy. That's my observation, and the other ones too. For the hear me now, it should actually be smaller than the second one. Hear me now, and of course, what you want the users to see is hear me now, of course, and the song below from the designer should not be like really prominent like the first one. Then it's just the same. It's just like hierarchy and things being in order.
Thank you, Ike. Thank you so much for that. And Timothy, please stop writing on my screen. If you have a question or you want to answer, you just raise your hand and I'll call your name and you can ask or answer your question. Okay. Jessica, can I unmute and ask?
Okay, can you hear me?
Yes, I can hear you.
Okay, so I want to add something to this good and bad UI UX. For the good UI, it's clearly showing like the hierarchy, the one that is more important there. But I also feel that this hear me now and the song under the alloc and the zebra is too tiny for a good UI, because the typography now that you spoke about is talking about readable font for the target audience. This good UI, don't you think the alloc zebra under the hear me now is too tiny for someone to point out? Because me, I'm considering those with eye problem, because me now I had to like squint my eyes a little to get the message under the hear me now.
Yeah, you're actually correct. But this is a mobile view, right? So if you're looking at it on your phone, I feel like it's going to be better because the hear me now it's looking like a 16 pixel font. Then the ask zebra is looking like 12, which is on a normal ground. It's okay. Maybe because it's like a picture and we are not really appreciating it more. So the whole idea of this image is just to show hierarchy, and so that we'll be able to understand that it's always good to place elements in a visual order so that people can be able to know what is first and what is second, and so that they will not get to confuse themselves with a lot of information with the first one. The test is just consistent from beginning to end, no atom of hierarchy, nothing. Well, I get your point. Yeah.
Okay.
Okay. So does anyone have question before we call it a night? If you have any question, any concern, you can raise up your hand now and ask. Emanuela, okay. If it's not a question, you can just bring down your hand so that we know people that have questions. A lot of people are raising their hand.
Okay, my question actually, and it's about the last UI UX. Right. Hello, Nasa.
Hello, can you hear me? Yes, I said Vincent, you can unmute your mic and ask your question. Vincent, if you can hear me, unmute your mic and ask your question.
Okay.
Hello, good evening.
Good evening, everybody.
Yes, good evening.
Good evening,
Hello, good
ma'am.
evening.
Please, I just hello. Can
anybody hear him? Can
you hear me?
Yes, yes, you
I
can hear
can
you.
hear you clearly.
Ask your question, please.
Hello.
We can hear you. Go ahead.
Okay. Please, you said something about okay, good
You're
evening
breaking.
once again. I said you said something about
Vincent, you're breaking. We can't hear you. Can't hear.
consistency. Please, in design, I don't know what you mean by the word.
Yes. Sorry, I was not hearing. Please, if I don't call your name, don't unmute your mic and speak, please. Please. Vincent, I was not hearing. Your network was really terrible. I don't know if anybody else was hearing him. So I will just call Timothy. So you can unmute your mic and ask your question.
Yeah, my question and observation is just in two cases. The first one is I don't know if there's a way we can have a recording of this section. And the first question is I don't really understand the difference between wireframing and prototyping because I learned we have two types of prototyping, which is the low fidelity and the high fidelity also. Same goes to wireframe, low fidelity and high fidelity. So I would like you to share more light.
Okay. Please, Onyinyechi, stop writing on my screen. Please. Timothy, so you have wireframe. Just look at wireframe as a skeletal part of your product. Then the moment you are building a house and you just have a blueprint, you have not added anything to it. So at this stage, you're looking at the functionality. You're not looking at the beauty because it's just a sketch, a black and white image idea, right? So when you have moved from low fidelity wireframe, low fidelity means that there's no color added. There's no text, you just have shapes. You understand? Just shapes representing your features. Then when you talk about high fidelity, which other people call the high fidelity design, here you have added colors, you have added icons. Now the design is now visually appealing. You have left the skeletal aspect. Now you're not looking at the visual aspect of the product. Then another question that you asked is the difference between low fidelity prototype and high fidelity prototype. Low fidelity prototypes, after you have sketched your wireframe on a piece of paper, you can connect the screen and share it with your friends, your family, your target audience, like help me check if this is the idea that based on the research. Then high fidelity now, you have connected maybe using your software to connect your screen so that users can see and interact with it. You understand? And for the recording, you can stream on YouTube, so to be uploaded on YouTube channel. Yeah. So I hope that answers your question.
Yes, thank you.
Who else? Okay. Sorry. Nella, please, you're the next person. Unmute your mic and speak.
Good evening,
Good
everyone.
evening. Sorry, help me and pronounce your name again.
Emmanuel.
Okay, Emmanuel. Okay.
My question is when we develop app or website, when we will start user research?
Sorry, come again.
When we develop app or website, when we will start user research?
Okay, when you have to start your user research. Is that your question?
When we will start, when develop our app, when we will start user research?
I'm hearing him.
Okay, so he's asking when you want to develop your mobile application or your website, when do you start user research?
Okay, so once you have identified a problem, or maybe your clients have given you like possible problem in the society. At that stage, you can start your research in order for you to gather pinpoints. Knowing, bearing in mind that you're not designing for yourself, you are designing for your users. So at that point, you can start carrying out a whole lot of interviews, sending a survey in order for you to understand users' needs, behaviors, and pinpoints. Hope that answers your question. It's more like the foundation of UI UX design. You must do your research before you can get started. Does that answer your question?
Yes.
Okay, thank you. Papa Emi, if you have a question, unmute your mic and ask.
I want to ask if slide for the next class. So that's my question.
Sorry, you're asking for the slide?
I mean, slide for the next class.
No. The slide might be shared after the class. So you do your own personal research. When you have a question, you can ask on the channel and I'll be there to answer you. Yeah? Because looking at the slide might really confuse you, honestly. Sorry, Ecom, you can unmute and ask your question now. You can hear me, unmute your mic and ask your question. Timothy, go ahead. Unmute your mic and ask.
Yeah, I just want to quickly confirm. Is user research not the job of the product manager?
No, it's not the same. Product management is a different field on its own. It's just like in charge of the management of the product, assigning of tasks and all that. So it's a different niche on its own entirely.
Okay, thank you.
Yeah. So in the absence of no other question, this is me saying bye-bye and enjoy the rest of your weekend and see you all on Wednesday. Okay, sorry. Ade Paula, you can ask your question.
Good evening.
Good evening.
Please, under UX design skills, you omitted usability testing. You didn't give any explanation on it.
All right. I explained it earlier, so that's why I didn't talk much about it again. But if you want me to explain it to you, I will explain it to you again. Usability testing is a process of giving real users, after you have prototype, now you give real users this product to navigate through. You understand? So that they can give you feedbacks and also possible improvement to your product before the product is being launched. So it's more like an activity that you undertake before product launch. After you have research, drawing your wireframe, prototype, and all that, you can now send it out to real users to navigate through so that they can give you their feedback and possible improvements to your application. Does that answer your question?
Yes, thank you.
All right. Any other question? We have any question? Okay, Ekon can ask your question.
I'm sorry, I've been battling with network. It's been logging me on and off.
So sorry about that.
Okay, thank you. You can hear me.
Yes,
I missed a small aspect, but I want to ask something about user research. At what point, what if after prototyping and launching and there are still issues with the product, the final outcome? At what point does user research end? I don't know if you understand what I'm asking.
Yeah,
For example, I find this app, this Discord app, very complicated to use. I don't know if at what point do they go back to say, oh, the user is having issues with this and it needs to be reworked and all of that?
Yeah, okay. So you cannot really say you are done with user research. Even your usability testing is also a research, right? So most often the app can be launched, but you keep updating it based on the feedback. That's at the end of every call. Maybe you're on Zoom call, they ask you, well, how was your experience? They're trying to get your feedback. So if they're getting more feedback, like, okay, the experience is actually bad, that's when they start researching and asking a lot of questions. What are the difficulties that you have navigating through this code? That's how you see that this app has been updated, this app has been improved. You understand? So far the app is out there, they keep updating it because users will always have one problem or the other. You understand? Is that clear?
Yeah, it is. Thank you.
So in the absence of no other question, this is me saying good night and enjoy the rest of your weekend. If you have any question, the channel is always open for you to ask. Always read messages on the chat because we'll be dropping your task very soon. Bye for now.
Bye.